The ongoing state capture inquiry hearings have shown the Okutlwanong township in the Free State to be the result of rampant government corruption. Commission Chair, Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has expressed outrage after hearing how hundreds of millions of rand was looted from a housing project for the poor. And 17 years on, no arrests have been made. Newzroom Afrika's Tumahole Mohlaoli visited one of the affected communities, which is still waiting for promised housing. He filed this special report.
Lifting the lid on a R1 billion Department of Human Settlements asbestos roof eradication scandal at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry into State Capture.
We know that there was no procurement process, either in respect of the contractors who built houses and in respect of the parties who supplied materials. But we know they were selected nevertheless. And the question is, who selected them and on what basis?
Even Commission Chairman Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo admitted that the extent of the Commission's work is taking its toll on him.
The people who were supposed to be beneficiaries to benefit from that project, I had evidence that they never got anything. And yet millions and millions of rands were paid out by the government, Free State provincial government. And that money ended in the hands of other people. And the real people who were supposed to benefit did not get anything. It's very concerning. This doesn't necessarily mean the Free State provincial government was the worst, because we haven't had evidence from other provinces and how other provincial governments fared. And we will not, because that kind of job needs years to do. So we will not know. But my own thinking is that if one went around the provinces, one would find a lot of projects where money that was supposed to benefit ordinary people ends up in the pockets of some people, and the ordinary people get nothing. It's very worrying. So I'm just mentioning that. But as I hear all of this evidence, here is something that troubles me quite a lot.
It all relates to the planned removal of deadly asbestos from low-cost housing in the Free State province. Initially, well over 500 million rand worth of invoices were approved and paid out to service providers around 2015. But that figure soon ballooned, and the scope of the work also broadened to include the construction of low-cost housing.
Who chose the contractors that were to be allocated units to build?
It's the MEC.
Do you know what the MEC, Mr. Zwani's attitude was to that direction of the minister, the national minister?
While in the meeting, he was in agreement, saying that we're going to implement our undertaking, that we're going to stop. But when we got home, he came back to me and said, no, we're continuing, we're not going to stop, and that we'll continue with our project up until the end of the financial year.
The head of department in the Free State Human Settlements Department admits that irregular processes resulted in suppliers being awarded extra work.
So this money that was paid out, about 500 million was paid out, is that right? And then, but you say the loss is 400 million, 866, is that right?
Yeah, Chair, I think the estimate is the equivalent number of houses. How much is it going to cost?
Yes.
The department to build?
Yes.
That's why the 500 million.
Yes.
And
then
the
actual amount that was paid out would be, is how much?
No, we are not there. Okay, the actual amount that was paid out, I think...
we haven't dealt with it, I thought we had.
But I think what is being tried to be explained here is that the houses that were supposed to be built at that point, the 14,706, this is the estimate.
Yes.
Of how much it will cost, 500 million.
Yes.
But already we had made advance payments.
Yes.
And that 486 million is probably what has not been accounted for in respect of the advance payments that were made.
As it turns out, Musebenzi Zwane was provincial head of the Human Settlements Department during the period in question.
Mr. McQuenna says in paragraph 20 on page 344 of FS 12, although I cannot recall all the names on the list, I remember noticing that the first 6 contractors on the list were not contractors ever used by HS before. I also remember asking the MEC why we were allocating so many units houses to contractors that we do not even know. The MEC was, however, adamant that these were the contractors we should use. In relation to the 6 contractors mentioned above, and I've put their names on record, it should be noted that these contractors were very close to Mr. Zwane. I say this as Mr. Zwane personally called me to expedite the processing of their payments.
Now, this reporter has gone out to one of the affected townships, Kutlwanong, and nothing could have prepared me for what I witnessed. Years after the low-cost housing controversy, beneficiaries are still waiting for the houses they were promised as far back as 2010.
At least maybe I no try foundation fela. Cause bana ba pala moduma yona ba etsa ka ba pala ba etsa pere. So sometimes etsa so jwale re nana e tla wa e ba wele ba seremake be mathata.
For some, the lack of delivery is even worse than it is for others. Pensioner Sana Pita was left with nothing more than just a slab to indicate where her promised RDP house was meant to be.
Ha ke fumana hore na ba neng ke sa helwa bane ditene ne di tlisitswe mona le ntho tse tsa kaofela le santa ne di pakuwe mo ditene tseo. So ba re ho thwe ditene tseo di wrong ba tlo dinka di tla khutliswa hape.
Former Free State Housing MEC Musebenzi Zwane has claimed that he was not aware of the existence of legislation that governed the issuing of tenders to service providers.
I truly affirm.
Zwane is at the heart of a scheme that saw billions in advance payments made to contractors who did not do or complete the work they were enlisted to do. For Newzroom Afrika, Channel 405, I'm Tumahole Mohlaoli in Johannesburg.